Today on the bench, I'm going to tie you up Don's deep water chironomid. This pattern is very effective for what I consider fishing deep water. That's anywhere from 15 to 20 feet or 20 even down to 50 feet. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 10 Scud Pupa hook. We'll tie with some 8/0 black thread. For the first bead, we'll use a 3/32 inch white bead. For the second bead, we'll use a 3/32 silver. We'll use some orange motto or floss for the buds, some large holographic tinsel for the body, some black ultra wire for the rib, and some hard as nails coating for the finish. To start the fly off, we always put our thread onto our hook first. And what I'm going to do is take my orange floss, I've got some orange floss here, and I'm going to extend it out, a good foot. And then I'm going to cut it. And I want to build up a bit of floss. I actually want this to really stick out as a bud. So I'm going to put it in half, and wrap it over together. So I got a double layer, and actually I'm going to do it again. I'm going to fold it over a fourth time, and then kind of spin it together. And that gives me a nice, fairly thick orange strand. And then what we're going to do is put this over our thread underneath and tie it in right at the eyelet. And when your floss is finished tied in, you should have one strand out one side, essentially right on the side of the hook, and of course the other strand on the other side, again at a nice even and parallel with the hook. So you want them, because we want to bring those over the beads after on the sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to whip finish right there and put our beads on. And that's the next step. So now that I've whip finished off my thread, I've moved my first bead, which is the white bead, so that's going to imitate our gills at the front of the fly. And then I've put my silver bead on second. And the reason I'm using two beads is I want a bit of weight. With the white bead solely, it doesn't quite get down as quick as I like, so that's why I put the silver bead on. Accentuate the fly a little bit, and it helps it get it down. So now what we're going to do is retie on our thread and bring our strands back to form our wing buds, and I'll show you that right now. Now that I've built up a nice dam of thread behind my beads so my beads actually can't move, I'm going to take my orange mono that you see out the front, and I'm going to bring one strand back on one side and one on the other to form the wing buds. So we'll bring one strand back now and tie it off, and you want these to be kind of parallel, like right on the side of those beads. And bring your second one on the other side and tie it off. Wrap back a little bit and cut off your excess. Now that my wing buds are tied in, I've got some black ultra wire. And it doesn't have to be ultra wire, it's just got to be very, very thin black wire. We want to keep this pattern quite thin on the body, but again, it is a deeper water pattern. Once we coat it, it is going to be fairly big and fairly thick, but that's okay in the deeper water. So anything that you want to substitute for black wire is fine. So I'm going to tie this in right at the back of the hook and kind of, almost halfway down the hook bend, because I want this fly to really extend and be quite large. Once the rib's tied in, take a little bit of your holographic tinsel, and I like to use the large. Again, it covers a little more volume on the body of the hook. Tie it in, again, right at the rear of the hook, move right down, about halfway down the hook shank. Bring your thread back up to your silver bead, and wrap your holographic tinsel forward to form the body. Next step in the fly is to take our wire, our black wire that we had off the back, and again form the traditional 5 to 6 ribs up the fly, just to segment that chironomid body a little bit, and tie off behind the bead. The last couple of steps of the fly are to whip finish off. So I'm going to take my whip finisher and I'm going to again whip finish right behind the silver bead, and I like to do it a couple times just to make sure this stays secure. And once we've whip finished, we're actually going to take our hard as nail finish and completely cover the fly. Now this is going to make the fly quite bulky. It is going to be a bigger pattern, but again, remember, this is a deep water pattern. So make sure you coat it up, especially the wing buds. You don't want that falling apart, and this will really set off this pattern. It protects it, and makes it translucent down in that deep water. And of course you have the different colors that really accentuate it in the deep water. This pattern is very effective when fishing deeper water, mainly because it has all the ingredients you need when you are fishing deeper water. It has the holographic tinsel. If there's light and low light penetration, it really gets accentuated down deep. And it also has the orange wing buds that you need something fluorescent down that deep to really set the pattern off. So if you're ever going to go and fish deeper water, like 15, 20, 50 feet, try this pattern out. It's going to be very effective for you. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.